Okay, where we last left off, we had pulled apart part of our jewelry box. We had made a dowel rod and inserted those in. We had the shelf side pieces, both a longer 10.5-inch side and a 7-inch side, and we have a shelf bottom. So in this video we're going to go ahead and start a new assembly. We're going to assemble the shelf together. So in this we're going to be going up to place and selecting the 7-inch shelf side. Open that up and place two of these in here. You want to place in your 10.5-inch shelf side. And you also want to place in the shelf bottom. Right, and the way this goes together, I'm going to make a mate constraint with one of the faces of this bottom piece and one of the faces of one of these dado cuts. Select apply, and now if I exit out, you'll see that there's one thing that's kind of wrong with this, is I can cut through this piece, so I have to change that. I'm going to say constrain, and I'm going to mate the edge of this to the inside edge of this. So if I kind of click and drag my view cube, I can pivot around a little bit until I can see this back surface here. And I can rotate around a little the other way. I want to be able to see just the edge of this. Mate those two together, select apply. And I want to make a flush constraint with the edge of this and the edge of this, and select apply. And it did not like that. Probably because I had mate instead of flush selected. Make sure you have flush selected. Select your two surfaces, select apply. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So switch back to mate, and this time we have to be a little more selective. If I pick the if I pick this face of my dado cut, I have to pick the bottom side of this shelf. Select apply. And we can see it's not quite oriented the right way. Make sure we have mate selected. I'm going to click on this face, and I want the inside of this dado. Can zoom in a little bit. Apply. And lastly, you want to make a flush constraint with these two edges. Apply. Okay, now what this is doing is it's making it so that when we go to glue this all together, we have more surface area for this bottom piece, and it's no longer being held in by just glue alone. So if you're going to put something heavy in this, if it's not just going to be used for jewelry, if you're going to store other things in it that might bear some weight to them, it's not just going to rip out the bottom. It actually has some more stability under it. As far as this stuff goes, we're just going to make a mate constraint. Mate one of these faces over the top of this. This is acting to hide this little dado that we made. Switch back to flush. Make these two faces flush with each other, and make these two faces flush. And it's the same way that you would clamp it up when you're getting ready to glue. Let's go to this other side. We'll do the same thing. Switch back to mate. We'll mate this face to this face. Apply. Flush. You want the tops to be even. Apply. And we want the sides of these to be even. Apply. And I'm sure you've already noticed, I know I did, that there's something wrong with the length of this. It's not where it should be. To edit, all I do is I double click on it. It'll bring up the piece all by itself, and actually I don't want to see that, so I'm going to exit it out. I want to edit it where I can still kind of see a ghost of it. So I'm going to go back to this window, double click on it, make sure that's the only file that's open. Alright, so now I need to go back to the original sketch for this, and instead of this being 7 inches, let's see what 6.75 looks like. Finish our sketch, go back to our home view. That looks pretty good. Select return. And now it's fixed both of these because they're the same piece. Even though they're in two different locations, it's referencing the same 7-inch shelf side piece. Alright, and then so we have to have at least one divider in this. You may choose to make more than one. Let's remind ourselves, if we go to inspect, check the distance from the bottom of this up to the top. It looks like that is 1.25, and that this distance to the inside corners is going to be 6.125. Okay, so let's make a new part. (2D sketch). (6.125) and 1.25. Just going to go back and double check that is what it's supposed to be. That was here. (1.25), 6.25. So here I typed this in wrong. 6.25. Okay, finish your sketch. Let's extrude this out. Make this a distance of 0.25. And let's change the appearance of this instead of just generic. Again, we'll go back to some kind of wood like cherry. And we'll call this shelf divider. Let's go back into our assembly. Make sure you're on the Assemble tab. Select Place. Shelf divider should be towards the bottom. And I think I might have a couple different sections. I'm going to put 2 of these in here. Go to Constraint. We want this to be glued into the bottom of this. Select Apply. And let's make this face attached to this face. Select Apply. Let's do the same thing with this. We're going to glue this onto this. Apply. And this edge onto this face. Apply. And now here's where I would like to see some creativity on your part with how you would like these arranged and what you want these to look like. Maybe you don't just want the 2, maybe you'd want another one. So here's shelf divider. Maybe we'd actually want a 3rd one. We're going to take this and glue it down to the inside here. But now we're going to put it sideways. And say that this is going to be attached to this other side here. Okay, and we can adjust this and try and figure out what the distance should be, and if we want maybe a couple of these in here. This part is up to you. So still need dimensions on it, still need to try and think things out a little, but how exactly this ends up should kind of be your own choice.